Welcome to Mainland, your local regional television station. I'm Chrissy Small, and some of the stories coming up in today's news: smoke-covered Stoke, artists' home open for a day, rugby in Tasman is looking good, and more. Where there's smoke, there's a fire, and never more so than on Sunday in Nelson's Quarantine Road, which caused rancid smoke to billow out over the surrounding suburb of Stoke. The cause of the fire is still unknown, but it is thought to have begun as a result of heat combustion in a large 40 by 10 metre green waste pile of compost at a firewood supply yard near the airport. The fire was contained by crews who were first alerted around 11:30am on Sunday morning. Fire crews from around the region included crews from Appleby and Brightwater, as well as Nelson, Richmond and Stoke, who attended the smouldering fire, trying to get it dampened down. Crews were at the scene overnight, and the last of the smoke was starting to disappear by mid-morning on Monday. And while traffic had to contend with being diverted down Parkers Road on Sunday, the added traffic didn't seem to help the Parkers Road residents, who believed that added traffic flow may have contributed to a mains water supply pipe burst on Sunday afternoon. Water crews were called to pump away excess water, causing one half of the road to flood near the Parkers Road roundabout from the burst mains around 2pm. One resident commented that in their 8 years of residency in the street, he and his family had experienced the pipe bursting every year and put it down to the heavy traffic use on the road. Road crews responded quickly and had the mains shut down by 3pm, leaving them to clean up the residual mess. Tasman Rugby is heading into the rugby season on a high note after seeing some of their rewards for all their hard work last year come back to them. Mainland's Tania Omar went to the Tasman headquarters and caught up with the CEO, Tony Lewis.
Well, Tony, it's great to see the Tasman Rugby Union's made a profit again for the 6th year in a row. Is that right?
It is indeed, yes. 6 out of 7, I think it is.
Yeah, 6 out of 7. What do you put this down to?
Oh, look, I think we've been very careful with prudent financial management for quite some time. But I think what we've done on that commercial front, we've grown the sponsorship by 5% each year. We had a 60% increase in the Blenheim region from 214. So worked very hard in that space, and we've also made match day pretty good experience where our crowds have been above the norm.
And has there been any difference in the operational cost of the union?
We have, in essence, we've looked at bringing more staff in for that community space. I suppose if you look at our operating revenue, it's down from 214 because we didn't have a home semi or a final. So that's basically, if you have one of those, you're banking 150,000.
With the promotional side developing and growing, has it been favourable in the community when you've approached sponsors?
I like everything you do. There's those people who want to be involved because they can see it as a benefit for their business, and then those who have no interest in rugby whatsoever. So there's wins, and we work really hard to ensure that we secure sponsors. We secure new sponsors, and we make sure we look after our old sponsors. So there's wins as it goes, and there's failures.
And sometimes you hear people talking behind the scenes in the community saying things like that rugby is on the decline in New Zealand. What are your thoughts on that perception?
Oh, look, I think everyone likes to say that sport's on the decline. I don't think it's a rocket scientist to work out that sport is fighting for that sort of space. And I know when the World Cup was on, there was a group of people, I think there was 32 million in fact, watching a live video game was being played out in London in front of an audience of 100,000, which the Rugby World Cup only had 77. So look, sport's always fighting for that space. Rugby's no different. We work very, very hard. We grew our numbers last year by 1,000 in the region, so 1,000 new people playing rugby. We just got to be smarter. When you're grey and old like myself, I can remember where Saturday mornings and afternoons were sacrosanct for rugby. Mm-hmm. That's not these days. We've got to take the games to the people who want to play at the right time. So this year we've introduced Friday night rugby, which has proved popular. We also last year fell upon an idea that the school children in that teenage space really like playing the games at their lunch times or after school, so they didn't really have to have much movement. So we just got to be smarter in that space. But we are in competition.
Is the rugby union engaging in the community online?
Yeah, we have. We're probably one of the only unions in New Zealand that has their own app. We've had that for 2 years now. So from our database, I think we've got 1/7 of our supporters using the app. The app runs for community rugby and it also runs for the Marcos. You can buy anything you want there. You can get your results within half an hour of the game finishing. So we're moving in that space. On the social media and Facebook, we're quite advanced. Again, things change. So I hear something called Smileys in. My children, they're over in Japan at the moment with their first 15 and they're coming back to me with Snapchat. So we're just got to make sure we're where we're at. On a playing side, we actually, for the first time ever, we video every match, the players. It goes up into the sky somewhere. Don't let me tell you where it is. And the players, as soon as the game is finished, they can watch their match within a half an hour of the game being finished, look at what went right, what didn't go right, start planning for others. So we're pretty innovative in that space, but the biggest problem with that space is the sheer cost of when it comes to dollar terms, and that's something that we're trying to struggle with.
And it's great to see some of the rebranding around the place to do with the Marcos. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can give you a pretty brief description of how we got there. Les Edwards, head of the commercial team, and Peter Watkins from the board, he's head of the commercial subcommittee. They both come to the board and felt that people were struggling with our logo. For example, Sky, colour it in. If you look at it there, we only have to look behind us there and we can see it's not really a Marco shark. Just needed a bit of a change. Now, a lot of people don't like change, and there's been some very positive thoughts on it, and there's obviously some negative thoughts, and lots of times the most conservative group, I can remember when I was teaching at Christ College, the most conservative group, when we changed things, were the students themselves. So I think we went through a process of engaging with our key stakeholders, which are our sponsors, our funders, the staff here, and other people. The committee in charge made a decision not to approach the players. Whether that's right or whether that's wrong, I think they were trying to get a feel what we needed to do. And they've come up with a brand that's been very, very well received in the corporate world, in the business world, and the youth world. We're taking a bit of flack, and I'll be honest here, from the playing group, because they see the shark and they see that as part of part of the history. And I suppose what I can say is that the shark is still really, really important. And what we see now is, if you look at it, it's the eye of a shark. You can see the M for Marcos. It can be 2 fins. It can be also 2 shark bites. They tell me you can see a T for Tasman. I can't see that, but probably not as abstract as some of the others. And it's got that sort of brand youth about it that will hold, and it can be used on a number of other things like hats and sunglasses, etc., etc. But we will never get away from our core value, which is the shark. It's not on the jersey at present, but as history goes on, we'll no doubt see it back there. The shark is what the players are about, and they have a tooth for the Marco of the day. They have a coin with the shark on it, and some of them even got a tattoo with the Marco shark there. So that'll be still at the forefront, because that's what we are and that's who the players are at. But we're trying to get a brand that we could control, have some guidelines, and I think we've achieved that. We do apologise for those people who don't like it, but in time most people will come to understand that that change was necessary in this space.
So fins up will still be relevant? Yeah,
fins up.
Medical cannabis has become a serious issue around the country and was brought to light through the battle of getting medical marijuana by Mother Rose Renton for her son Alex, approved by Associate Health Minister Peter Dunn last year. MP for Tasman, Damien O'Connor, has just lodged a members' bill in Parliament to make it easier for patients like the late Alex Renton to access medicinal cannabis products. Damien O'Connor supported Alex Renton's family in their quest to get approval for medical cannabis in a hope that it could improve his desperate situation. Damien said that the current system is too bureaucratic and it is unclear where the final approval lies. O'Connor's bill makes the approval process simpler but has appropriate safeguards. He said that the key change is that the minister must not prevent the supply and administration of processed cannabis products to a person considered by a registered medical practitioner to be either in the final stages of a terminal illness or have a permanent condition that causes significant pain or impairment. This is a member's bill he hopes will progress the issue and, if drawn, will enable Parliament to properly consider the issue of access to medicinal cannabis. Change, the Tasman MP said, is supported by the majority of New Zealanders. Heritage Week is on and features some interesting stories about some iconic people who have lived in our community. One of these is well-known and loved artist, the late Jane Evans. Tania caught up with Jane's brother Bill in the cottage she called home in the 3 months before her death in June 2012.
Well, Bill, it's wonderful getting a sense of Jane and her work by being able to go through the cottage. It's lovely. How are you finding the Heritage Week and the visitors, the response?
Well, I'm quite amazed at who has turned up. Yes, I did. The people are interested and it's really great to see them.
What sort of a reaction are you getting?
Oh, positive. I can't keep up. Unfortunately, I've got Bill Unwin here to help me, and he's very good at meeting people and talking and explaining what is what.
And what was it like growing up with Jane?
Well, she was special, as she says in the John Reed film. She felt special, and she was special because she was this plump little, bubbly little baby, as it was to begin with. We used to call her Podgy Tubby Fibber Quizzy Evans. And she was bouncing around, all of good cheer from the word go. Yes. She was fun to have with us, even though we were older.
When did the family notice that Jane had an ability to paint?
Well, I think Jane picked up on that herself when she was at Nelson Girls. Her art teacher put her into the secondary school's competition without telling her, and then when she read that she'd won the award, it was just she thought this couldn't be, but in actual fact it was, and she started to realise that, as she said in her film, John Reed film, she first realised people it wasn't just her amusement, that they were enjoying what she did. And actually in this cottage, some of them might not be recognised by others, but I go around one to one and I'm just amazed. Each one tends to speak to you, and every one is personal. You say, well, what was she thinking now when she did this? You know, it's really...
And did you have insight into some of her thinking around some of her artwork?
No, I stepped pretty well clear of her artwork. I photographed the last 10 years after I came back from overseas. I photographed her work that she did in the last 10 years of her life. And so I've got a good record of that. But I was never interested in art, and I let her bubble along in her way. But we kept in touch all the time, mostly when other people weren't around, and that.
So her talent was recognised at school. It's obviously recognised locally and nationally. Did she have like a marketing strategy to get recognised, or did it come to her?
She did it rather differently. She marketed direct a lot. She did use the galleries occasionally, but she found that could be difficult for all of the artists marketing through galleries at times.
So how did she, when you say she marketed direct, what does that involve?
Well, some people would come and stay here, and they'd be taken with not only with her art, but with her, and they'd say, "Oh, I'd like one of these works," and so there was a ready stale there, and people would lined up pretty well a lot of the time to buy from her.
How did living in Nelson influence Jane in her artwork?
Well, I can't really say myself, but she enjoyed the surroundings as we all did. We all appreciated Nelson as being a pretty unique place, and my brother and I had been in London and in England during the Second World War, and the bombing had affected the house we're in, people around us, so coming here, and my father was born in Dunedin, and so coming back to New Zealand after the Second World War, Jane was born in the year after the war finished, and so we all appreciated Nelson, the Sleepy Hollow it was then, and look what we've got now. It's still pretty good.
Do you think she was thinking about people who would view her art, or was she? Yeah, what was inspiring her, do you think?
Just the sheer beauty, because you see, she did so many she started on children, and then when she got sick, she did a number of these characters, which I think are outstanding. The more now I see of them, these ones of older people, and I just think it's just fantastic work that she did then. And then she went on to do nudes, and she did a whole range, did a little sculpture, did the lithographs in Chagall's style, who she was really taken with, and it was the fun of those that she put in. She was a positive, fun person, a little bit of mischief there, and so she showed that in her art.
After the break, we'll bring you the latest weather update and some events and happenings coming up from around our region.
We're the team at JCar, right here in Nelson, 120 Hardy Street. Our shop is full of electronic items,
including security alarm systems, electronic components,
solar and power,
electronics toys,
sound systems, cables, and much, much more. JCar.
120 Hardy Street, Nelson.
Welcome me hearties to Smuggler's Pub and Cafe, famous for hearty meals, craft ales and a friendly service way. Sensational seasonal menus with meals all day and evening too, or sail in for a snack with special menus for young smugglers and you. Settle in for a jolly old time, relax and enjoy our award-winning dining and lovely fine wine. Decked out in an old worldly way, we're open 7 days. Book or come on in to 8 Muritai Street, not far from a beach, walk or swim. Phone 546408.
Hi there, Julian Toon, Waimea Telecommunications. We install and maintain domestic and commercial satellite TV, UHF Freeview and Mainland TV installations in the Nelson, Tasman regions. We specialise in Panasonic telephone systems and provide communications, Wi-Fi, IT and wiring for internet, fibre, computers and DSL systems. At Waimea Telecommunications, we also provide specialist electronic systems for features such as a security camera you can watch on your TV, visitor alert systems and much more. Improve your security and communication and entertainment today. Call us on Waimea Telecommunications on 021 472297, ytel.co.nz.
World War I was a defining period in our history, impacting greatly on the lives of people from the Nelson province. Memories of the First World War is an exhibition which will be displayed in a number of regional venues and is currently on at the Nelson Provincial Museum.
Why would you want to pay as much as $1,000 for a single bed mattress when you can buy a high quality locally made mattress like this for as little as $220? And a queen size mattress could cost you in excess of $3,000, but at Nelson Beds you could have a mattress like this as low as $425. So why would you go out and spend a fortune on your child's bedroom when you can come to Nelson Beds and buy a complete single mattress and base set, a 7-drawer Scotch chest, a headboard and a 3-drawer bedside cabinet for as little as $979? So call and discuss our custom manufacturing options and local after sales service at Nelson Beds, Nelson's only bedding manufacturer.
For budding performers or people that just want to give it a go, there's a free talk and mask workshop on the 28th of April 2016 at the Elmer Turner Library in Nelson. Workshop times are 10 a.m. until noon. The youth workshop is from 1 p.m. until 3 p.m. There's no cost, but numbers are very limited. If you wish to register, contact Lloyd at Nelson Arts Council. New history panels celebrating Nelson's peace movement will be unveiled at the Peace Grove on Saturday the 23rd of April at 12 p.m. It's at the Peace Grove behind Miyazu Gardens. Parking by Miyazu Gardens, there's footpath access off Trafalgar Cycleway. If it's raining, a gathering will be held instead at Founders Heritage Park. There's kite making workshops on April the 19th at Elmer Turner Library, 10:30 a.m. until 12 p.m. and again on April the 22nd at Founders Heritage Park at the Granary at 10 a.m. until 12 p.m. Heritage Week runs from the 16th of April till the 24th of April. For the full program, visit nelson.govt.nz. And on behalf of the team here at Mainland Television News, thank you for joining us, and we'll bring you the latest news and events from around the region again tomorrow.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
G'day, it's your old mate the Mad Butcher, and you're watching Mainland TV.
Welcome to Smugglers Pub and Cafe, open 7 days a week with free parking all day. Our lunch menus have that fat old-fashioned flavour where we treat you like treasure with the food you'll savour.
We cater for children, grannies and granddads too, with special rates and privileges given to the elderly lunchtime crew. Our staff are friendly and kind and want to see you all come back time after time.
Daytime or evening, it doesn't matter. Give us a call on 546 4084 and we'll be happy to spoil ya.
Nelson Tire Center. Great prices, great service. Buy your own Bryford trailer. All types, all sizes. See Colin Douglas for your tires and batteries.
Are you looking for a scooter, walker, wheelchair, baby seats or pushchairs? Then come in and see the Nelson Region Specialist at Mobility for You, 269 Queen Street, Richmond, opposite the library. We have a huge selection of scooters, walkers, wheelchairs and accessories, along with a free booklet guide. We also provide a breakdown service if you ever get a puncture or a flat battery. We have fully equipped service vans to rescue you. Hi, I'm Robin Jordan and I invite you to call in and see the friendly team at Mobility for You, 269 Queen Street, Richmond, opposite the library.
World War I was a defining period in our history, impacting greatly on the lives of people from the Nelson province. Memories of the First World War is an exhibition which will be displayed in a number of regional venues and is currently on at the Nelson Provincial Museum.
Hi, I'm John Crouch from Crafer Crouch Construction. We're general contractors here. We specialise in drainage, earthworks, concrete, gravel supplies. We have our own mobile crushers. So for all your contract requirements, call us on 5783 475 Blenheim or in 5736 119 Picton.